the jobs report is in, and it's a little bit of a disaster as it came in well below analyst expectations, and revisions for the last couple months have come in significantly lower. So we'll be talking about all those details, where the current unemployment rate is sitting, as well as what this means right now for the overall economy, what it means for all of us out there, and what we can expect out of the Federal Reserve in a matter of just days as they wrap up their two-day FOMC meeting with their announcements on interest rates. We've got a lot to talk about here in the video. Let's jump into it and discuss what we just learned today from this number. Really fast before we do, can I ask a huge favor of you? If you've not done so yet, please make sure to like the video with the big thumbs up button down below. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Also, if you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe down below as well with the big subscribe button waiting for you. Thank you. Really appreciate your support. It is such a weird time right now. Thank you so much for being here, and let's talk through the details. All right, so earlier today, we got the all-important non-farm payroll number, otherwise known as the job report, which is released the first Friday of every month, and that just happens to be today. So this is a highly anticipated number. Really quickly, I want to tell you why. And again, if you've been watching the videos here on the channel for a while now, you've probably heard me say this, but let me just say it really quickly. In my honest opinion, this gives us the best overall broad look, like a big barometer on the overall economy. Because if jobs are being created, the unemployment rate is going down, and labor participation is going up, and average hourly earnings are going up, all of this is looking good for an overall strong economy. But that's not the case. We're seeing the opposite right now, okay? We're seeing basically the opposite of all those. We're seeing the unemployment rate go higher or stay steady like we saw today with the reading of 4.2%. So it's still just basically holding steady. But what we're seeing is less hiring. What that simply means is that with less hiring going on, it's showing that maybe businesses are pulling back and that the economy isn't nearly as strong as we're thinking, right? Obviously, it's not nearly as strong as it has been the last couple of years here because unemployment is pulling back. Now, with the report that we got this morning, analysts were expecting 160,000 new jobs last month. However, the number came in at 142, so it came in basically 18,000 less than what they were expecting. It's not a ton, but it is still a little bit lower than where they were expecting. Now, that is not really the headline-catching news, but what is the headline-catching news is the revisions. The revisions is what we get every month as well. So when we get the overall headline unemployment numbers, things like this for the previous month, they also come on and say, well, we're revising the numbers for the last 2 months. So the last couple months, obviously this report that we got this morning is August unemployment numbers, but then they revised June and July. This is where it gets really ugly. So they give us the revisions, okay? And I'm not sure how they pull this off, but they miscount. They miscount all the time. I'm not sure how they miscount by this much, but they did. Okay, the revisions for those 2 months came in at negative 86,000. So in other words, what that means is when they initially reported the June and July unemployment numbers and how many jobs were created and things like that, they overcounted by 86,000 jobs. How do you do that? I don't have a clue how you overcount by 86,000. I could see overcounting by like a couple thousand, maybe, but 86,000? That's nuts, okay? But anyway, long story short is they revised down by 86,000 between those 2 months combined. So as a result of that, that simply shows that between those 2 months, we basically had 86,000 less jobs that were created, even though they told us that they were. So there you go, right? They miscounted. So anyway, that plays a key role into this because, again, we started to see significantly less jobs being created months ago, but yet it was not being reported at the time because they were miscounting, right? So anyway, so that's, some of the information we got today. Now, what does this mean for the overall economy right now? Well, at the moment, as we speak, not a whole lot, except for the fact that we can clearly see the economy is slowing. That is without a doubt. We know this for sure. Look at the employment picture. It's not that hard to figure out that with all these jobs that are, coming in well below consensus and the revisions down, things like that, obviously things are slowing down. Now, are we in an overall free fall and the economy is crashing and stuff like that? No, absolutely not. It is not happening like that right now. But again, it all starts very slow, right? It's kind of like the snowball at the top of the mountain. It takes a lot of time to kind of build up and start moving. But once that sucker starts moving down, get out of the way because it's going to get ugly fast, right? So it's kind of the same situation, and that's kind of where we're at now, okay? Now next, in just a matter of days here, we're going to be getting the next FOMC meeting. In other words, the Federal Open Market Committee meeting, which is from the Federal Reserve. They come out, and every 6 weeks they get together, they meet for a couple days, a bunch of economists, whatever, they're supposed to know a bunch of things, and then they come out with their meeting and their announcement at 2 p.m. East Coast time, and they decide what are they going to do with interest rates, as well as the press conference with Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, about a half hour later, and he answers a bunch of questions. So here's what we're anticipating. Without a doubt, they're going to be cutting interest rates. But the big question is how much? Okay, it's either going to be 25 basis points, or a lot of people are suggesting as well 50 basis points. Now, anything more than that would be a major signal from the Fed that they've waited too long, they've blown it, and they need to quick cut rates before the economy basically collapses further. So this is what the situation is. Now, if they cut 25 basis points, that's really not going to do anything. It's a quarter. When I say 25 basis points, it means a quarter of 1%, 0.25%. That's what it is, okay? Now, if they were to cut 50 basis points, that would be a half of 1% or 0.5%, if that makes sense. Now, again, these are not much. It's certainly a start. But it's not going to do a whole lot. But at the end of the day, they have not cut interest rates since a long time ago. I mean, a very long time ago. They started raising interest rates back in March of 2022, and they've kept rates very elevated for the last, 2.5 years now since they started raising. Yeah, bad situation, okay? So just remember, the longer that they keep these rates high, the more it contracts on the economy. It's a bad picture. High interest rates are not sustainable for long periods of time. So it's going to be very interesting here to see what happens and, what's going to happen with the Federal Reserve here when they come up with their meeting. But the anticipation and the consensus is for sure they will cut probably between 25 and 50 basis points. We'll have to see what they come in with. But at the end of the day, how does this translate into you and your money and the economy and everything like that? Well, if they cut interest rates, if you're borrowing money anywhere, if you have an adjustable interest rate on anything, it could be a line of credit, it could be credit cards, it could be personal loans, whatever it is, a home equity line of credit, whatever it is, anything that has a variable rate, that'll come down a little bit. Now, if you happen to be one of the very lucky people who has like $6 to your name in a savings account, well, then the savings account that you're getting, say, 4.25% interest on right now, that's also going to adjust lower. So see how that works? Yeah, exactly. So you pay less interest, which is typically way higher than what you receive, but then any interest you're receiving on any accounts as well, that'll also be cut at the same time. Make sense? All right, so anyway, I can certainly leave it at that for now. I can come back in another video if you want me to and talk about this further, but highly anticipated number here. We will need to continue watching the details going forward and just see, but this is giving us definitely a very, very clear picture of what's going on with the economy. Not doing so great, certainly slowing down. It's not an overall free fall. It's not a crash and burn, nothing like that right now, but certainly the start, and this happened months ago, as we continue to see that the hiring trend, the unemployment is certainly getting slower and slower and slower. So we'll see here. Again, I'll keep you posted. Hope this helps you out. Again, please subscribe down below, like the video, thumbs up button down below. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Otherwise, check out the other videos here on the channel. Thousands, 5,000 nearly in the video library. I've hand-selected some very popular videos for you down below in the description or the top of the comment section. Check those out there as well. Otherwise, right now showing up on your screen, you'll see some videos. Thank you so much. Check out those, and I'll see you again in just a minute. Take care, and